Hello and welcome to the SLA Spring Publisher Roadshow. Today we're looking at middle grade books. There are a lot of fantastic ideas here for titles to add to your school library, so I really hope you enjoy the session. And remember, there are additional resources also available on the School Library Association website supporting lots of these titles. Thank you so much.
Hi guys, so my name is Grace and I look after the marketing and publicity at Firefly Press. I just wanted to take a few moments to run through our middle grade titles between January and July this year. So kicking off, we have The Treasure Seekers by Kathy Faulkner. This is an inspirational free verse novel set in the aftermath of World War I. It examines themes of mental health, grief, class divides and friendship with a sure but gentle touch. Set in 1918, The Treasure Seekers follows 11-year-old Stanley, who is convinced that the stained glass window in the church that was removed during the war is a protection the village needs to solve all its problems, including his mother's sickness. With the help of Martha, they go to seek the treasure. So The Treasure Seekers is the second novel written by Kathy Faulkner, the other being Dig In for Victory, which was shortlisted for the Week Junior Book Awards and longlisted for the Carnegie Medal, the Branford Bows and the UKLA. Each of these books comes with teaching notes, and being a teacher herself, Kathy is superb when it comes to events. Next up, we have The Candleman by New York Times bestselling author Catherine Fisher. We're publishing The Candleman as part of our new Firefly Classics from Wales series, celebrating the best English language stories from Wales. When Connor finds out mysterious Murig's soul is trapped in a candle, he and his friend Sarah try to rescue it for him. However, it then lands in the hands of the treacherous river goddess Havren, and she will only give it back for a terrible price. Catherine is an award-winning master storyteller, best known for her fantasy novels for middle grade and YA readers. And with the generous help from the Books Council of Wales, we're giving out a limited amount of free copies of this title to schools in and around Wales. So please do get in touch if you'd be interested to find out more, and there is no strings attached. So next up we have Entangled by Emma Rea. This is a thrilling adventure story, perfect for fans of Catherine Rundell, Shana Jackson and Natasha Farrant. When Thomas's blind sister gets kidnapped during a trip to Venice, it's up to Thomas to race across Venice, navigating canals, carnival parades and mass balls to try and rescue his sister from the people who snatched her. This novel features disability rep and explores grief and its effect on familial relationships. You may be familiar with Emma from her other novels, The Top Dog and My Name is River. This was published by us and was also selected for the Summer Reading Challenge and Sunday Times Book of the Week. This fast-paced adventure is definitely not one to miss. Next up, I have a gorgeous poetry collection to share with you from Rhiannon Oliver with illustrations from Chris Riddell. So, taking inspiration from everything from cat fleas to cloud gazing, Fresh is a lively collection of poems for primary school aged children. It explores themes of starting over, the natural world, friendship, mental health, and above all, kindness. As you can probably tell, I am super excited about this poetry collection. The illustrations are just absolutely gorgeous, and more than one of the poems did bring a tear to my eye. One thing that I really do want to stress is that Rhiannon is absolutely superb when it comes to events. She is a trained actress and also works in childcare, so really has her eye on the ball in terms of kids' events and keeping them fun. With this collection, we'll be offering out bookmarks, posters, poetry postcards, and Rhiannon is currently booking events throughout April. And that brings me to our lead fiction title, which is Questers Academy Box of Locks. This is a fast-paced middle grade action adventure, which is set in the Natural History Museum, described as the Da Vinci Code meets London Eye mystery. 12-year-old Tom Friday was never meant to be a museum guarding, artifact finding, super brave explorer, but that's how he ends up in this novel. You may be familiar with Sam from her other books, the Spy Penguin series, the Undead Pet series, and Stella and the Night Sprite series. However, this is her first foray into middle grade. Similarly to Rhiannon, Sam has spent years doing events with schools and libraries and is currently pulling together lesson plans and worksheets to take along with her to events. So if you'd like to have Sam visit, do let me know. Last but definitely not least, we have the return of the glorious Claire Fayers with the second book in her Tapper Watson series, described as Doctor Who meets Guardians of the Galaxy. This is a joyous, wildly imaginative mashup of Greek myth and science fiction, full of extraordinary worlds and characters. So this is obviously just a draft cover at the moment. Some of you may have noticed we're taking a new direction. We're hoping to give it more of a sci-fi feel, but fear not, we will be rejacketing book 1 in this series as well. Claire is perhaps our busiest author in terms of events. She's always looking to book more, so do just let me know if you'd be interested. So that's everything from me. Thank you so much for listening, and do not hesitate to get in touch if you have any questions, proof requests, or just general queries. Thanks, guys.
Hi, my name is Rob. I'm the head of PR at Anderson Press, and I'm going to talk you through some of our middle grade titles for spring. First is Honey's Hive, Be a Leader, the 4th book in the series by New York Times bestselling author Mo O'Hara and illustrator Ayaka Kida. Perfect for ages 7 and up, this series is full of adventure, but also filled with facts about bees and how they live. Mo is based in London and does fantastic events along with her ukulele. We have a How to Draw activity available too. The Experiment is the latest exciting middle grade book by Newbery Medal winning and Waterstones Prize shortlisted author Rebecca Stead. Skellig meets Stranger Things in this fast-paced coming-of-age novel with aliens that asks questions about how we figure out who we want to be and whether it's too late to change. You might remember Rebecca's other books, The List of Things That Will Not Change and When You Reach Me. Here she has crafted another unforgettable story. We have book club discussion questions available to download as well. Escape from the Child Snatchers is the latest 5-star historical fiction adventure novel by award-winning author Sophia Ahmed. Set in Victorian London, it follows Hamza, who sets out from India to find his missing brother. It isn't too long, though, until he comes across the dreaded child snatcher. Inspired by the true experiences of Indian boys in Victorian London, this was called a galloping adventure story, likely to be devoured in a single sitting by the Telegraph. Sophia is available for fantastic events and is based in London. We also have teaching notes available. The 3rd book in Guy Bass's hugely popular and hilarious whodunit series is out this January. Splitting Hairs is schoolboy detective Hugh's toughest case yet. When Hugh notices that there's more than a hair out of place on his school photograph, there's no time to mull it over. Hugh must cut to the chase and find the culprit. Is Hugh ready for this close shave with danger? Guy is a fantastic at events, and we do have bookmarks available for this, so please do get in touch if you would like any. Anya and the Light Above the Ocean is something quite special. Written by debut talent Emilia Giudici, this is a thrilling adventure story with a metaphysical twist. One morning, Anya notices her mother is missing, so she rows in a boat to the sea during a storm to find her, only to discover a strange window of light hovering above the waves. Transfixed, she reaches out to touch it, and then everything changes. This is a future classic, and one for the avid readers in your life. It will hook you in like all the best books do. It publishes this February, and we will have discussion notes and bookmarks available. Emilia is also available for events and is also based in London. The Time Travel Twin series by Josh Lacey and Gary Parsons takes the Key Stage 2 history curriculum and transforms it into something even more entertaining. Showcasing that there are always two sides of history, it follows twins Scarlett and Thomas, who are transported back in time to help with their history homework. In the latest book, they head to the Great Exhibition, where palaces and prison await the pair. Josh has done a brilliant research into this book to ensure that they are both accurate and engaging. He does terrific free school visits, so do get in touch with me to book one of those in. He is also based in London. Will Shakespeare always knew he was a genius. He just wasn't sure at what. In Kaz Penny's debut middle grade series, the bard becomes a crime-solving detective along with his best friend Tybalt. Kaz has taken Shakespeare's famous plays and transformed them into something fun and accessible so that when they come to study Shakespeare in secondary, it won't feel as daunting. Packed with fantastic illustrations by debut talent Sammy Elgi, The Stinky Stolen Toenails sees Romeo and Juliet in a way you've never seen them before. This publishes in March, and we'll have bookmarks for this too. Events with both are also available, and both are based in London. Finally, Monsieur Mustard is the brand new series from debut talent and greetings card designer Charlie Rabbit. Meet the number one and smallest detective, Monsieur Mustard. Dressed to the nines, he is charming and very famous. He is also a mouse. Charlie's storytelling is the work of a classic, and her illustrations are to die for. The first in the series, The Disappearance of Fabio Fangtooth, sees Monsieur Mustard arrive in Bath and he is soon caught up in his first mystery. Perfect for fans of Rabbit and Bear and Mr. Penguin, this is a debut not to miss. Thank you for your time, and if you're interested in any of these titles or would like to ask for any POS or anything further, please do drop me an email on the email on the screen. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Fritha from Osborne. I'm going to talk you through some of the brilliant middle grade titles we've got coming this spring. A reminder that Serena Patel, creator of Anisha Accidental Detective, has a World Book Day title in 2026. From the horrible history star Emma Swan comes another cruise ship kid book. There's lots of love for Emma's debut. So jump on board with Silver, the cruise ship kid, as she solves crimes in the hilarious and best-selling detective adventure series. There's 4 things you should know about Silver. 1, she lives on a cruise ship. 2, she's based on author Emma Swan, who really did grow up on cruise ships. 3, she's definitely a detective. And number 4, she needs your help investigating the case of the kidnapped super famous influencer. Next up, a brand new super exciting illustrated series packed full of lols, BFFs and lots of overthinking. Early feedback suggests this will be perfect for fans of Lottie Brooks. Author Nat Lasima is a stand-up comic, and here she is to tell you more.
Hello, I'm Nat, and I'm the author of the Overthinkers Club. I have a question for you. Are you an overthinker? Do you angst and fret about everything until even small things feel quite huge and now your stomach hurts and there's nothing you can do about it? Well, welcome to the club. Birdie is our heroine. She is 12 years old and she has a lot going on that makes her quite anxious. Her home situation is changing. She's now at secondary school. Her mum is away. There's a lot going on. And to top it off, her best friend has decided she might want new friends. Oh, lol, what a betrayal. How fun. So she makes a happy list. And this is a list of things to make her happy and less anxious. One of these things is swimming, which is why we're filming at my local Lido. Look, it's golden hour. Cinema. Our illustrator, she's amazing. She's called Cécile Domeau. Yeah, guys, that was a French accent. Calm down. And her illustrations are so perfect. My personal favourites are Orchard of Death on My Back and March of the Pilgrims. Please, Nat, give us a crumb of context. No, you'll have to read the book. This is not a self-help book, but if it helps any anxious tweens in your life, then I'm not mad about it.
We couldn't be more excited to be publishing the sequel to Sophie Anderson's best-selling debut, The House with Chicken Legs. All Marinka's life she has lived in her house with chicken legs, running across the world on magical adventures. Marinka knows how her house is feeling, and it listens to her too. But something's wrong, and before anyone can stop it, the house has pulled itself apart and run away. Travelling across far distant lands, through new realms and magical places, Marinka must face up to her fears to save her friends, but her house might not want to stop running. Sophie will be at the SLA conference in June if you want to chat to her. The next one from the brilliant double-winning author of the Little Rebels Award is a dual narrative story following 2 adoptive girls who find out that they're biological sisters. Solve the puzzles to find the gold in this thrilling interactive dragon riding adventure from the best-selling author-illustrator of Grumpfort, and here he is to tell you more.
Hi, I'm Jamie Hammond and I'm the author-illustrator of Dragonflare. Now, close your eyes and imagine you're stood on a seaside pier as a shadow swoops overhead and a dragon whisks you away. That is exactly what happens to our main character Flynn, because dragons have left Dragonflare Island for the first time in almost a century to host the mysterious Wing Rider Trials, a competition involving a series of puzzles to win a life-changing supply of gold. But there is one problem. Dragons are sworn enemies with humans, and to win, Flynn must learn how to work with the dragons to solve the puzzles and perhaps stop an even more sinister plot. Dragonflare combines my love of puzzles and games such as Super Mario and the classics of Snakes and Ladders, paired with a fast-paced adventure of Grumpfort. It is set in the world of Grumpfort, but Dragonflare is completely standalone. We meet new characters, new mystical creatures, and new foes with unexpected twists. So, can Flynn learn to work with the dragons, and more importantly, can you solve the puzzles and save the whole of dragonkind?
To end with, a very important non-fiction title for 10+ readers. Learn how to spot scams and misinformation with this fun, comprehensive guide. That's it. Thank you for listening. You can scan this QR code to sign up to our librarian mailing list to receive proofs, review copies and news. And my email is here if you want to get in touch about anything.
Hello, I'm Kieran from Scholastic, and here are our upcoming middle grade highlights. First up is the second book in the Terrible Trio series, The Day the Mac and Cheese Ran Out, a highly illustrated and laugh out loud series about a group of animals who find out that they have the worst superpowers in the world. From award-winning author Swapna Haddo and talented illustrator Minky Stapleton. Next, The Dad Trap from award-winning author Ian Eagleton is a modern twist on The Parent Trap. Instant enemies, Florence and William are horrified to find out that their dads are dating each other and are forced to work together to try to split them up. A fun, celebratory adventure filled with pranks and mayhem. In February, we're publishing Murder at the Ivy Hotel, a cosy crime story from best-selling Irish author Emily Hurricane about two girls who live in a hotel and have to solve a murder. Set in a welcome and super cozy hotel setting with a lovable cast of characters, plus a dash of danger. Full of suspense, sleuthing and twisting discoveries as the kids take the lead, children will love trying to figure out who done it in this murder mystery that is the perfect balance of action and child-friendly peril. Perfect for fans of Robin Stevens and the Swifts. Boy vs. Reality is a new book from James Fox, whose debut last year, The Boy in the Suit, was critically acclaimed. Meet Ethan Lacey, whose family are an online vlogging sensation, but behind the camera everything isn't as perfect as it seems. A funny and sensitive take on conversations around the sharing of kids' content online, with an ultimately uplifting message about being present and enjoying the everyday moments of life. In March comes the second book in the Nora Night Sky series, Double the Drama. This is a funny, gorgeously illustrated young fiction series about a star come to Earth. Instead of granting wishes, though, Nora is on a mission to teach humans a lesson. Next, we're so excited to be publishing the graphic novel version of the late Benjamin Zephaniah's acclaimed Windrush Child, about a boy from Jamaica who arrives in England as part of the Windrush generation, illustrated by Marcia Janai, whose expressive and dynamic art style brings Leonard's story to life. Next up, Camazin, Fortress of Lost Memories is an exciting new debut from William Yamaguchi Dobson. This is a fantasy with a future classic feel, inspired by Japanese folklore, perfect for fans of Studio Ghibli. 12-year-old Jonty enters a magical world behind Japanese memory gate, where he has to collect the memories of his father, a famous primatologist who now has dementia. Along the way, he meets mischievous Japanese beings and sky pirate crews. This debut is inspired by the author's childhood growing up in Japan and is illustrated by Japanese artist Sawa. Next, the second book in Aoife Dooley's hilarious, zany and action-packed full-colour graphic novel series Squid Squad, called Shrimply the Best, perfect for readers aged 5 to 8, about a group of sea creatures who get up to lots of mischief, for fans of Bunny vs. Monkey and SpongeBob SquarePants. Next, from Helen Rutter, whose debut, The Boy Who Made Everyone Laugh, was a breakout bestseller, we have The Game Changers, starring a group of kids who are sent to a summer camp and must make decisions and work as a team on a set of mental and physical challenges. Think The Crystal Maze meets the challenges sections of The Traitors. You, the reader, get to decide what the characters do next. And then last but not least, we've got Bonehead, Guardian of the Underworld, our major summer release, which is out in June. This is a highly illustrated debut from Jamie Gregory, with the chaos and anarchy of Bunny vs. Monkey meeting the diary format of Loki. Bonehead is the diary of a skeleton guard of the underworld, Demise, aka Bonehead. He thinks he's the best and he's determined to prove it. Meanwhile, his unimpressed boss, Mort, has defaced the diary with some snarky asides. Thanks so much for listening. For more information, please contact the email address on the screen, publicity@scholastic.co.uk. Thanks, bye.
Hello everyone at the School Librarian Association. My name is MG Leonard. Now, I wonder if, like me, when you were little, you were read The Wind in the Willows. I must have been 4 or 5 years old when it was my bedtime story, and I adored it. It took seed in my imagination, and it has inspired a lot of the books that I write today. None more so than my newest one. Now, often a new work is created to fix antiquated language or problematic tropes of an old story, which is why when I was asked to consider The Wind in the Willows, I said no, because it's perfect. It's one of my favourite books, and it's been a talisman for me throughout my life. However, I am irked by modern editions that have removed my favourite chapter, Chapter 7, Piper at the Gates of Dawn. Now, I assume that it's cut because it's poetic and mystical and very little happens. It's when we learn that Otter's son, Little Portly, has been missing for days and everyone along the riverbank is worried. And when this chapter was read to me as a child, I too worried about Little Portly, and I was so relieved when he was found between the cloven hooves of the god Pan. But I was left with unanswered questions about where the little otter had been and what he'd got up to, and I was quite disappointed that my questions were not answered in this book. So, in The Adventures of Portly the Otter, rather than reimagining The Wind in the Willows, I've inserted my imagination into the gaps of the original story. I've aimed to capture the essence of Kenneth Grahame's characters and the world of the riverbank, as well as adding a few new creatures, lots of otters, and answering the questions that troubled me as so much when I was a little child. I hope the readers of The Adventures of Portly the Otter will demand to be read the original story once they've completed this book, and when they reach chapter 7, they'll know where Portly has been and what a brave little otter he is, and it will become their favourite chapter too. In this thrilling adventure, told in a series of short tales, you'll meet all of your favourite riverbank creatures, Ratty, Moly, Toad and Badger, plus some new ones, as well as visiting the world of the Wildwood and Toad Hall. It's a perfect read for families looking for a bedtime story or young readers who love nature, and it features Polly Dunbar's beautiful artwork, which pays homage to E.H. Shepard's classic illustrations. I want to offer a special thank you to all of you librarians for recommending my books and for spreading the word about Portly's adventures. You see, I wouldn't be a writer if it wasn't for librarians, so I know just how essential and transformative the work that you do is. Thank you.
Hi there, this is Danny Price. I'm here to present the Rock the Boat books. These are written for children ages 8 to 12 and they're publishing between January and June 2026. First up, we have a new mystery series by best-selling author Holly Webb. I know Holly doesn't need any introductions. She is a multi-million best-selling author and she's best known for animal stories, which have been translated to multiple languages and sold millions of copies across the world. But we have a brand new series from Holly, and here she is to introduce A Girl's Guide to Spying.
Hi everyone, I'm Holly Webb, and this is my new book, the first of the Rose Patrol mysteries. It's called A Girl's Guide to Spying. It's a spy mystery set during the First World War, and it's based on the real girl guides who worked at MI5 at the time. It was their job to clean the typewriters, fill up the inkwells, but also to deliver confidential messages between departments, and they were incredibly good at it. In my book, they also managed to discover a murder. It's aimed at anyone who enjoys an adventurous story but also really wants strong girl characters, and I'm so excited to share it with you when it comes out in February. Bye!
So it sounds fantastic, and we are really delighted to have Holly Webb on the Rock the Boat list with this thrilling new World War I mystery series. The first book is A Girl's Guide to Spying. Did you know that the girl guides worked undercover for MI5 during the First World War? The two sisters, Phil and Annie, joined the brand new group set up just for girls called the Girl Guides. It's an exciting organisation and they love being part of the Rose Patrol. But things take an adventurous turn when the girls are invited to work for MI5, passing messages between officers working in the HQ. When one of the officers, the stern Captain Warren, goes missing, the sisters and guides find themselves joining forces. Could he be the real spy? And who is behind his mysterious disappearance? As Holly said, the events in the book are based on real life, and Holly's passion for the Girl Guiding Association really shines through the text, and the text offers a glimpse into this interesting and past world. One thing I also enjoy about this book is how each chapter offers a small, accurate glimpse into the world of Phil and Annie. It includes extracts and newspapers and articles that disapprovingly scrutinise the Girl Guide movement and the girls taking part in scouting. How dare they? I hope you enjoy A Girl's Guide to Spying, out in February. Next on the list, we have Birdlands by Anthony McGowan. So Anthony McGowan is one of the most widely acclaimed young adult and children's authors in the UK. His books have won numerous major awards, and in 2020 he was awarded the Carnegie Medal for Lark. His new book, Birdlands, is a heartwarming adventure about friendship, about courage, and about never giving up. So when a grumpy boy spots 3 injured birds at a train station, there's a crow with a broken wing, a jackdaw with a crooked beak, and a pigeon with ruined feet. He tries to help, but he fails. The train pulls away and he thinks their story is over, but it isn't. Herman the crow, Beaky the jackdaw, and Pidge the pigeon set out on an extraordinary journey, driven by Herman's dream of a paradise called Dump, where the lost and hungry are safe at last. Unable to fly, the 3 must walk through towns and fields, past dogs, cats, and constant danger, while an unseen predator waits above. As they travel, secrets surface, and these are the real dangers. Why won't Pidge use her wings? What turned Herman from king to outcast? And will Beaky learn that courage has nothing to do with his perfect beak? It's told with wit, with humour and heart, and it's a moving story about belonging. It's about loyalty and second chances. I hope you'll enjoy this, and this one is out in May. Hi, so last on this list is The Ocean and the Bones by Genevieve Carver. This is a debut novel. This is set in a prehistoric world shaped by rising seas and restless spirits. The protagonist is little Meg. She's a sun healer's apprentice, and she's learning to read the signs of nature to protect her people. But when she secretly withholds the finger bones of her dead parents from a sacred ritual, a violent storm follows, and Meg believes the devastation of her village is her fault. As the waters recede, Meg discovers a strange girl washed up on the shore, Carla, a child from a faraway place. Believing that returning Carla to her island home is the only way to set things right, Meg embarks on a perilous journey across sea and land. So this book is a debut, and it's written by the creative writer and poet Genevieve Carver. Genevieve studied archaeology and was an archaeologist for some time, so she really understands the past and the prehistoric world. And this is sort of based on the lost land of Doggerland, which was once a bridge between Britain and Europe. It blends this world with magic, with spiritual rituals and ancient lands, and it looks at like migration and what it means to arrive in a new place and what it means to welcome the other. I think it's got really beautiful themes that really resonate with today's world, but it's also just a very atmospheric story that explores belonging, bravery, and the ties that connect us.
Hi everyone, Leanne from Simon & Schuster Children's Books here to talk to you about some of the brilliant books we've got coming in the first half of the year, starting with Finn's Epic Fails by Phil Earle. Now you may of course know this author from some of his previous books like When the Sky Falls, but this is something a little bit different from him. This is all about Finn, who just wants to survive year 7, but he is met with so many embarrassing moments and epic fails, like his little sister gluing a unicorn horn to his head, or his dad who has got into cycling and is wearing far too much lycra, or his brother that keeps giving him so many wedgies. But at least by his side he has his best friends Laszlo and Google. Her real name isn't Google, but ask her anything and she will know the answer. This is not just packed with epic fails, but packed with friendship, family, and funniness too. This is an underdog story that has a really distinctive voice. It's accessibly, engagingly told, and it's illustrated throughout as well. So it's perfect for any reluctant boy readers. Really, this is middle grade Adrian Mole for the wimpy kid generation, and it is so genuinely laugh out loud funny. It also works brilliantly as a transition read between years 6 and 7. Next, we have the debut novel from S.J. Poynton, Mammoth Rider, and this is set in the Arctic and follows Ash Grimes, who has been born and raised at a research facility responsible for cloning and releasing mammoths. Ash is desperate to prove that she has what it takes to be a mammoth rider, but when a billionaire trophy hunter threatens the safety of the herd, Ash, along with her best friends, have to take it upon themselves to try and save the rarest creature on the planet, a white mammoth calf. This is an action adventure with a child and animal relationship at the heart of it. It is so incredibly thoroughly researched and grounded in real science around the efforts to bring back woolly mammoths and clone them. The author is a real expert in this, and I really don't think anyone else could have written this book as expertly as she has. She's a true debut, she's a former bookseller, and there's also really fantastic representation of neurodiversity in this book as well, with dyslexia, dyscalculia, and dyspraxia. Stable Heart by Nikki Johnson is the first book in a brand new stable series, but one that is a little bit different to some of the other horse books out there. 11-year-old Prez cannot remember a time before she was in the foster care system, but she is now going to live with her eccentric auntie Janelle. And it is here that she discovers Stable Heart, a riding stables in the inner city, and she meets Hero, a bay pony that has his own secrets. They develop a really beautiful relationship where they find a place of home in one another and they heal from their pasts together. It's the first book in a brand new series, but as I said, it's a little bit different to some of the other pony books out there, with this backdrop of the care system being set in the inner city. It has a really diverse set of characters as well. I don't have a cover to show you just yet, but it will be done by the phenomenal Keith Robinson, so you can see one of his early illustrations and some of the other books that he has done to show just how beautiful his artwork is. Felix and the Future Agency is the first in a brand new action-packed series all about Felix Green, who has an incredible talent to see the future. Because of this talent, he is whisked away to join secret government organisation, the Future Agency, where he will use his powers to protect the country. So it's very Men in Black meets Alex Rider. There are secret government organisations and secret underground passageways. It's perfect for readers of Percy Jackson or the Skandar series, perfect for boy readers, and we know how crucial it is to get those boys reading, particularly in the year of reading. Husband Planet is the first in a zany and hilarious series where we are following our titular main character pretending to be the best postman in the universe, but he is actually only 9 years old. We follow him on his intergalactic adventures, making essential deliveries to unusual planets. He is joined by a hilarious and wacky set of supporting characters, and this is truly one of the funniest books you will read all year. Oh, and it is also authored by a real life postman, because that is Ben Davis's day job, so he really knows what he's talking about. Now, I'm sure I don't need to introduce many of you to the epic Skandar series, but I am so excited to announce that we are reissuing the entire series in collaboration with the National Year of Reading Go All In campaign. We've gone for a more character-led cover approach, which we hope will broaden out the audience to those maybe more reluctant readers that we know it is so crucial to reach in the year of reading. The first couple are coming in February, with the rest of the rejackets coming in May. They are all of the books I'm going to tell you about today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Everyone, the voice you can hear is that of Catherine Allport. I manage the publicity for Guppy Books, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about our middle grade titles that are publishing from January to June this year. Starting off with a fantastic new series which is publishing on our Mini Guppy imprint. For those of you who missed it, last year we launched Mini Guppy, and this is an imprint focusing on books that are full colour, highly illustrated, and for ages 5 and up, for the children who are ready to move on from picture books and move on to chapter books. So leaning into the trend for graphic novels, but for much younger readers. Fairy Tale Fiasco is a series that takes traditional fairy tale stories that you and I both know and love and turns them on their heads with a modern twist. They are the brainchild of Mars MacLeod and Evgenia Golubieva, who are a married couple. They used to work in TV and in animation. Mars used to write for Hey Dougie, just saying. And they are using their skills for this brilliant, bold, colourful, very, very funny series. The concept is that Cleo, who you can see on the front covers of the two books here, has got a special power. She can jump into any story with the help of her friend Mark, who's a bookmark, and change any of the problems that are occurring. So, for example, in Hansel and Gretel, she manages to persuade the wicked witch to use her baking skills to run baking competitions, to join baking competitions, rather than baking children. And in Cinderella, she encourages Cinders to team up with her stepsisters. They are brilliant, they're incredibly inclusive, they're very representative, and so excited about them. We're launching in February with two books, Hansel and Gretel and Cinderella. We have Jack and the Beanstalk and Sleeping Beauty following later in the year. Moving on to Daredevil, which is the 6th book in the Big School series by Lisa Williamson. Now, this series continues to go from strength to strength for Guppy. And in this 6th outing, we are focusing the story on Ollie, who is the antagonist from Double Drama. Now, Ollie, he's not a bully exactly. He's a bit of a prankster, a bit of a joker. He doesn't take school very seriously. What he really likes is impressing his mates and showing off. And when one of his pranks goes quite badly wrong, he is separated from his 2 best mates, Alex and Jensen, and is put in a separate class to try and address his behaviour. At first, Ollie is devastated by this, but then he befriends Luca, who is the cool boy in the year above. Luca is really like Ollie on the surface. They seem to have a lot in common. But when Luca's dares start getting a little bit questionable and start hurting people, Ollie has to question whether he needs to follow the crowd or actually plough his own path. It's brilliantly written. Ollie is not the most likeable character in Double Drama, but it really gives insight into what is happening in his home life and why he might behave the way that he behaves and why he craves the attention. Lisa's writing of all her tweens is absolutely fantastic in this series. She really, really captures the voices and the concerns of this year group as they are finding their way in year 7 and moving up from being the top dogs in year 6 into secondary school. These are perfect for books for children who are moving on to secondary school and preparing to make that transition. And I can really, really recommend them. They, as I say, are going from strength to strength and being picked up across libraries and schools through the UK at the moment. And finally, in April, we have our 3rd adventure from our incredible, intrepid explorer Amelia Cheesehart. So to remind you that from previous books that I've presented to the SLA members, Amelia is a mouse. She lives in a hot air balloon in a museum gift shop with her best friend Webster, who's a spider. And every night after the doors of the museum close, Amelia and Webster go on different adventures to different exhibits throughout the museum. This one, Ice Age Alarm, is shockingly set in the Ice Age exhibit. Now, Amelia and Webster decide to go on an adventure to go and see the cave mice that live there. But a very scary, very noisy beast frightens Webster away, so Amelia has to investigate what is happening. These are another full colour series on our mini Guppy list. They were the first series that we published in 2025 on the mini Guppy list. They are absolutely gorgeous, really, really funny, full colour illustrations from Nene Lonergan. And suffused all the way through, there are facts. They're not non-fiction books, but there are facts all the way through about the different periods that Amelia is exploring. They're absolutely brilliant. I can testify from the point of view of a mother of a 5-year-old how popular that these have been with her, and we're really excited to continue the series in 2026. There are 3 titles that are publishing on the Guppy list between January and June for our middle grade. If you have any questions about any of the books that I've presented today or any of the Guppy books or authors on the whole, then please do drop me a line. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks very much. Bye.
Hi everyone, I'm Pippa Poole, Senior Publicity Manager at Bonnier Books UK. At Bonnier, we publish an array of titles across our children's trade imprints, to which we've included all our imprint logos on this slide, just as a little recap. To recap some of our highlight books last year, we've included some of them on this slide here, which hopefully you've seen around. This includes award winners like Nathaniel Azor's King of Nothing, Words Can Fly by Donna Ashworth, which launched in the top 5 Sunday Times bestsellers, and captivating middle grade, including books by Stephen Mulhern and Andy Shepherd. We are also the proud publisher of the highly accessible Ultimate Football Heroes brand, which is a great gateway into reading for more reluctant readers. Looking ahead to this year's highlight middle grade titles from our Piccadilly Press imprint, which really focuses on middle grade, we have a new murder mystery series launch in March, perfect for fans of Robin Stevens. Written by Ruth Lauren and filled with illustrations by Federica Brenner, this is perfect for ages 8 plus, publishing and paperback. Murder at Hotel Marvello isn't just your ordinary mystery though, as it's set in a luxury hotel for magic makers. Filled with a brilliant cast that features incidental positive representation of neurodiversity, inspired by Ruth and her family's experiences. When the wizard in the hotel is discovered dead in the cell, and Finian Marvello's parents, the co-owners of the hotel, are blamed, can Finian and his siblings Juniper and Teddy solve the murder and clear their name? As you've just seen, we have the third and final instalment in the Peregrine Quinn series by Ash Bond, publishing in April in hardback, with the paper book of Book 2 coming out in February. For those who don't know the books, they are an outstanding fantasy series of mythology meets tech, great for fans of Artemis Fowl and Percy Jackson. Ash is great at events and really knows the mythology topic, teaching classics at the University of Bristol. Book 1 has been shortlisted for a number of awards that we've included here. Coming in May, we have a bold new middle grade adventure from the Waterstones Children's Book Prize award-winning author of My Brother is a Superhero, David Solomons, highly illustrated by his missive. Moving in a new direction for David, the Ministry of Manners is for ages 9+ and takes an exciting and accessible approach to the idea of life under an oppressive regime. Alfie and Margot have grown up under the Ministry of Manners, where politeness isn't a choice, it's the law. But when the ministry take Margot, everything changes. Inside the Manners retreat, she fights to stay herself in a place built to erase her. Meanwhile, Alfie falls in with the unsilenced, those who still dare to speak and are joining the rebellion. This is an original story that explores the themes of George Orwell's classic 1984 for younger readers, so it's very timely for discussing politics and democracy in the classroom. Returning to the mythology theme, we're launching one of Piccadilly's biggest series launches this year with Claire Pollard in June, who some of you may know from The Untamables, which was longlisted for the Bramford Bowes Award, or perhaps you might know her for adult titles like Fierce Bad Rabbits and her poetry. Claire has given the Greek myth Jason and the Argonauts a hilarious, fresh retelling centering children and bringing them onto the Argo in a brand new series called The Other Nauts. Filled with accessible illustrations for ages 8+ by Matcha Yao, this is great for fans of Loki, Hercules, and How to Train Your Dragon. With the focus on ancient Greece, we know this will be popular in schools, and it's publishing in June. Thank you so much for listening, and do not hesitate to get in touch if you have any questions. We've included the best email addresses here.
Hello, and welcome to the middle grade presentation from Bloomsbury Children's Books. First up, we have Chicken Hill, Attack of the Zombie Cactus by Becky Blake. This publishes on the 12th of February 2026 in paperback. Chicken Hill is a hilarious graphic novel from the debut author-illustrator Becky Blake, perfect for fans of Dog Man and Bunny vs. Monkey. It features 3 short stories packed into one full-colour graphic novel, making it the perfect read for reluctant readers and a classroom must-have. And whether fending off an invasion of zombie cactuses or trying to keep an army of clone conspiracy theorist cats out of office, there's no shortage of things to keep them busy, because in Chicken Hill, there's only one rule. If you think things can't get weirder, they always can. And as they say, the fun never stops in Chicken Hill. Becky Blake has always loved drawing and writing about silly things and weird stuff. She went to art college in Newcastle and got a degree in illustration and design. Since then, she's continued to do illustration as well as animation work. Chicken Hill is the first in her debut graphic novel series. Next, we have The Galileo Heist by Sam Sedgman. This publishes on the 12th of February 2026 as well in paperback. This is the third adventure in the Isaac Turner series, Investigate series, seeing Isaac Turner's summer in Italy go horribly wrong when he becomes embroiled in a heist to clear his grandfather's name. Can Isaac shine a light on the truth in time? The Isaac Turner Investigate series is an accessible set of adventures with a STEM-by-style theme, which parents and children will love, filling the gap on our list for the contemporary mystery aimed at boys. The first book in the series, The Clockwork Conspiracy, was the Times Children's Book of the Week and was shortlisted for the Indie Book Awards in 2024, and the Books on My Bag Award for Children's Fiction also in 2024. Each book in the series is set around a different location of the world, featuring a different adventure, and is based around one of the 7 scientific of measurement. This adventure will explore Florence, Italy, featuring an exciting jewel heist set during an eclipse and will be themed around the measurement of light, the candela. It can be read as a standalone or enjoyed as a part of the greater Isaac Turner series. Sam Sedgman is a best-selling author, confirmed nerd, and enthusiastic ferroequinologist. His books have been translated into more than 20 languages, and he lives in London on top of a railway station, just to add to his quirkiness. And thirdly, we have Scare B&B by Catherine Doyle with illustrations by Rachel Dean. This publishes on the 12th of March 2026. Spooky silliness reigns in Catherine Doyle's new series as Ted and Frankie team up to save their hotel from a ghostly Duke and his restless spirits, featuring hilarious illustrations from Rachel Dean. This is the brand new fun and funny series from the best-selling author Catherine Doyle, combining her trademark sense of humour with a classic manor house spooking. Full of heart and hope and frightfully fantastic, fans of BBC Ghosts, The Beast and the Bethany, and The Swifts will devour this spookily entertaining sitcom-style series. Catherine Doyle grew up beside the Atlantic Ocean in the west of Ireland. Her love of reading began with great Irish myths and legends and fostered in her an ambition to maybe one day write her own. Rachel Dean is a UK-based illustrator who lives on the coast near Liverpool. She has created illustrations for middle grade fiction as well as picture books and was recently selected to illustrate Dame Jacqueline Wilson's new titles. And next we have The Doomsday Cows by Izzy Lawrence, which publishes on the 1st of January 2026 in paperback. Another side-splitting graphic novel from the electric Izzy Lawrence. Set after the Norman Conquest, The Doomsday Cows is both Children's Indie Book of the Month and Authorfied Book of the Month. This curriculum-linked comedy brings medieval England to life through the eyes of Nora, a strong-willed Anglo-Saxon tween who will do anything to stop her sister Githa from marrying a bloodthirsty Norman noble's family. She'll kidnap the family cows, make soup out of a day's deer, give soldiers to slip in Chester, and argue with her Meadowstone mum until her family is safe. Real facts make for unreal adventures. And then next we also have I Tell Myself I'm Awesome by Joshua Siegel, illustrated by Chris Piasek. This publishes on the 26th of February 2026 in paperback. In the award-winning poet Joshua Siegel's own words, this uplifting new collection is warm, bouncy, and reflective, like a pick-a-mix for your mental health. As with Josh's other collections, the content stretches from recommended age of 7 to children 5 and 9 plus. Both aspiring poets and reluctant readers will enjoy the range of funny, thoughtful poetry which luxuriates in the beauty of words while giving readers the boost they need to let their imaginations run wild, and to remind children that they are awesome. And these are the books we have publishing outside of the ones presented to you today in the period that was given. Plague Busters and Dead Ends are non-fiction titles. Disaster Diaries, The Worst Holiday Ever is the third book in the Disaster Diary series by the infamous Joanna Nadine. And Pablo and Splash, The Castle Quest is our World Book Day book for this year, which can be picked up for the World Book Day price of £1. Rory Sparks, The Elephant in the Room by Hugh Bonneville, now publishes in hardback, paperback this year. Maya and the Fire of Speech will be getting the second book in the series this year as well. Another Pablo and Swash book. We're building up on our graphic novel content this year. As you can see, Screw and Duck, Crack to the Future is the second book in the Screw and Duck series, and Impossible Creatures, The Poison King, now publishes in hardback along with Letters from the Upside. Also publishing this year is the Fantastically Great Woman series 10th anniversary editions, which features Taylor Swift and Malala Yousafzai as bonus chapters as well. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for listening. For any inquiries, please email Deborah Ogonoike, deborah.ogonoike@bloomsbury.com. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Frances Maloney. I'm here to talk to you about the Barrington Stoke highlights for January to March 2026. We're very excited to have a new book coming out from Helen Rutter. Advice from a 12-year-old Nobody is the story of Vinny, who's having problems at home and at school, and his mum's too busy with her job as an agony aunt to help him. So he finds one of her old blogs and starts replying to people's questions with hilarious and perhaps sometimes disastrous consequences. We've had a great reaction to both of Helen's previous titles, Fres, The Piano at the Station, and Me and My Bride, which touch on themes of mental health and anxiety in a heartfelt and empathetic way. The next title I want to talk to you about is a brand new one from best-selling author Steve Cole. I think I gave you a sneak peek of this at the last highlights presentation, but it's out this month, so I just want to do a quick recap. New Forever is Ready Player One meets Blade Runner for readers 11+. It's a frightening vision of the future where in 2070 we've reached the peak of the climate crisis and a company have invented replica bodies that humans can upload themselves into in order to live forever. These bodies don't create waste and they don't need food, so they're meant to be more environmentally friendly. But is there more going on than meets the eye? It's up to Anders, who is the son of a journalist, and he teams up with an environmental activist along the lines of Greta Thunberg to find out the truth. And finally, we're excited to welcome a new author to our list, the twice Carnegie-nominated author Luke Palmer. Big Words is our lead title for March 2026, and we're very excited for Luke to be joining the list. I'm not going to say too much about this book as I've got a video at the end of my presentation from Luke who will tell you all about it.
Hello, I'm Luke Palmer and I'm here to talk about Big Words, which is my new book with the brilliant Barrington Stoke. Sam thinks that being big is everything. He's the big dog in his group of 5 friends, the one who's looked up to and respected, the toughest, the most daring, the one that no one says no to. And until recently, he was the biggest player on the football pitch too, dominant and powerful. But when one of Sam's ideas goes horribly wrong, the hurt that's caused to his best friend is more than just physical, and it ripples out through the rest of the group too. Will Sam's big approach be enough to put things right? Or will he listen to what his friends are telling him, that there are other, better ways to earn their respect? So it's a story about mistakes, about forgiveness, and what strength really is. It's a book about stepping up and doing the right thing, even when it's the hardest thing. And it's about the lessons we can learn from each other. And it's about what it really means to be big. I hope you enjoy it.
Hello there, I am Naomi, I'm from Be Small Publishing and I'm here to talk to you about our new non-fiction titles that we have coming out in 2026. So a little bit about who we are first of all, if you haven't heard of us. We're a very small independent publisher. There's actually only 3 of us working full time, so Sam, Vicky and myself, and then Kath founded the company over 30 years ago. Our mission at Be Small, every book that we do ties into our mission of the joy of learning. So whether that's investigating mysteries, learning about science, learning different languages, every book that we create ties into our overarching mission that we believe that all books should do, and especially our non-fiction books, which is celebrate the joy of learning. So first of all, kicking things off in February, we have How to Speak and Be Heard, a kid's toolkit for oracy and confident speaking. Now, this book is about oracy, which is now on the national curriculum and is part of the Ofsted framework, and provides a simple introduction that teachers can build on. So we created this book in collaboration with the English Speaking Union, which is a youth oracy charity, and we used their framework to inform the content and design of the book. This book is part of a new series that you can see down the bottom that will tackle critical, media and scientific literacy. And I'll be talking to you about a couple more of those titles very shortly as well. It's a paperback of 40 pages, and we hope that it will be a really useful resource for libraries and schools. Look inside the book. So this is the English Speaking Union framework that we've based the book around. So it's broken into reasoning and evidence, organisation and prioritisation, listening and response, and expression and delivery. It's very important to note that oracy is a bit of a buzzword at the moment, but we use it every day. It's not something that's reserved for very posh schools or posh people. It's a thing that everybody uses. I'm using it right now. Whenever we talk to somebody, we use oracy. So we really want to break down the idea that oracy is some sort of privileged thing to be able to have and use, because we use it every day and it's really important. A couple of examples of exercises inside the book. So watching the clock, something I'm happy to do currently with recording this presentation, and exercises you can do to work on timing and calming yourself down if you're doing a presentation. So I really would recommend checking this book out when it comes in February. Quickly moving on to March, this is the STEM Encyclopedia of Wildlife Words, an illustrated A to Z of 100 animal terms. This book is illustrated with humour, bringing the science to life in a fun and engaging way, and includes over 100 animal terms for kids to know. This is another paperback with 112 pages, so it's quite a chunky boy. And we have a previous book in the series that you might already be familiar of, the Encyclopedia of STEM Words, and a couple of reviews. So a must-buy for raising the profile of STEM in your school. If I'd had a book like this as a child, I probably would have remained more engaged in science, which is exactly the kind of comment that we like to read. This book is very similar in terms of the formula that it uses. So looking inside the book, this is the introduction page, how to use the book. So this book includes an index at the back for looking up words and practicing researching. And then we also break down what STEM is. And then this is an example of what it looks like inside as well. So some words like murmuration and nematode, beautiful 4-page illustrations by Vicky Barker, and really nice bite-sized chunks of text that are very readable and accessible. Moving on to April, these are the last two books I'm going to talk about, so hopefully I've got enough time. How to Think Like a Scientist and How to Question Everything. So 2 of those titles in the Learning Skills series, which I introduced you to with How to Speak and Be Heard. These are new editions of our previous titles, Think Like a Scientist and Question Everything, and we've updated them to include AI. And the focus here is on scientific literacy and critical literacy. Again, both paperbacks. 40 pages. Look inside, so this is kind of breaking down the information jungle, things that you might flash up. So this is from How to Question Everything and focuses on kind of a lot of fake news and combating things that you might read online that might not always be true. Breaking down a kind of headline here, is the story facts or speculation, looking into the motivations that someone might have to share a story like this. I'm running out of time, but quickly, we've got a free poster download for the National Year of Reading. It's in collaboration with Cora and Beanstalk. You can download and print it for free as part of our celebrations of the National Year of Reading and put it in your library or classroom. It's available online on our website for free. And that's it. So for any inquiries, just drop me an email, and I hope you have a great rest of the conference.
Hi, I'm Ruth from Chicken House, and I have 3 middle grade titles that I would love to share with you today. The first up is the Galaxy World Cup by Alan Joyce. This is coming out on the 12th of February, so coming out very soon. This is a debut from Alan Joyce, who was a shortlistee from the Times Chicken House children's fiction competition. It's a really funny intergalactic football adventure, kind of think Space Jam, but with football. And it's got some really lovely themes of friendship and team spirit. It's the perfect underdog story. It's about a group of kids who are in detention who get whisked across the galaxy by aliens to compete in the Galaxy World Cup with the best football playing aliens in the galaxy, because they are mistaken for famous footballers because they have football shirts on that say Ronaldo, etc., etc. And so they have to work together to win this tournament in order to come home. It's hilarious. It's got wormholes and bouncy pitches, and lots of football fun that will appeal to ages 7 to 11 and any football fans right in time for the World Cup. Next up, I have Death by Chocolate by Anna Brooke. This is coming out in March the 12th. I'll put the cover here. Copies should be arriving very shortly. And this is an older middle grade debut from the hilarious author Anna Brooke, who you may know from her Monster Bogey series. This is a chocolatey, spooky mystery set in a French hotel where Coco is helping her parents who've invested everything into this struggling hotel. But the hotel is haunted by a bitter ghost, Monsieur Framboise, a chocolatier who met Sticky End. And he agrees to help Coco save this hotel with his legendary skills if she can bring his murderer to justice and uncover who it was. So this is packed full of humour and mystery and chocolate, publishing just in time for Easter. And it's a bit like The Great Chocolate Plot meets Murder Most Unladylike. And last but certainly not least is Wishbound by Clemency Brown. This is a proof copy, but I'll put the final cover here. This is the first in a magical adventure series from the superstar author Clemency Brown. It's a really enchanting and fresh magical concept in a world where wishes are bought and sold. It's kind of based around the premise of what if the price of magic was your best friend. So the main character Leonie can make wishes come true, which is a really rare gift on her tiny island of Onsk. Set in Norway. But when she finds out that her magic will cost her freedom, she runs away to our world and ends up in Somerset. Here she finds a new life and a new best friend, Cress. However, danger is always lurking, and as Leonie's enemies close in, her only hope of keeping herself and her friends safe is a wish that will tie them together forever, and they navigate that throughout the book. This book celebrates individuality and found family and identity. Leonie's best friend, Cress, who she ends up tying herself together with, is deaf. And so the two friends communicate through BSL throughout the series. And that's navigated really thoughtfully. Perfect for fans of Catherine Rundell with the kind of grounded friendship of Jacqueline Wilson meeting the magic of Nevermore. It's just a really warm and enchanting start of the series. So thank you so much. That's all of the titles from Chicken House that I'd like to share. Thanks.
So pleased to be here speaking to you today about some of the exciting new middle grade titles that we have coming from Macmillan Children's Books. To kick us off, we have Quill and the Last Generation. This is a new epic fantasy trilogy from our award-winning author, C.M. Lewis. Packed with mythology, this gripping adventure is perfect for children aged 9 to 11. Looking to our non-fiction imprint Rocket Fox, we have Mixed, explore and celebrate your mixed race identity, filled with practical advice, engaging activities and inspirational letters by mixed race people. This is a must-have book for mixed race children. Next up, The Legend of the Werewolf is reimagined in this thrilling, spine-tingling adventure by Rob Biddulph. This is the Moonhaven Chronicles The Last Wolf, packed with more than 100 spectacular black and white illustrations by the author. Now, get ready for legendary laughs with Tiny Hercules. This is the debut full-colour graphic novel from John Locke and Nick Angel. Aimed at ages 7+, Tiny Hercules is perfect for those fans of Bunny vs. Monkey and Dogman. And moving on, we have The Impossible Gladiator, combining the action-adventure of Gladiator with the time travel of Doctor Who. This is the third title in M.G. Leonard's epic Time Keys series, which also introduces children to the Key Stage 2 history curriculum. We also have the Mubbles series. The Good, the Bad and the Perky is the third book in this hilarious full-colour series by Liz Pichon, the global best-selling creator of Tom Gates. It's filled with colourful characters, boundless fun and lots of adventures. Again from Rocket Fox, I'm excited to bring Strong Girls by the brilliant Jodie Ounsley to my presentation. Join everyone's favourite gladiator Fury as she teaches you how to be strong and think strong. Full of stories from Jodie's life, key profiles on her own role models, as well as advice on how to find your own strength and celebrate it. And finally, we have Alex Abbott is Undead. This is Wednesday meets Loki, a bad god's guide to being good, in the first book in this hilarious new adventure series about an ordinary kid and a reluctant vampire. By debut author Louise Austin, this is perfect for readers age 8 to 12.
HarperCollins Children's Books will publish the third thrilling adventure story in the historical fantasy series The Miraculous Sweetmakers this January. This enchanting adventure and series finale takes best friends Thomasina and Anne deeper into magic, from best-selling author Natasha Hastings. The middle grade Guardians of the Galaxy is back with Scarlet Saves the Multiverse, the hilarious follow-up to James Davis's debut Scarlet Defender of the Universe. Also this January, the highly anticipated follow-up to Philippa Leithley's debut Inkbound. Get ready for the next extraordinary magical adventure about family, fate, and finding the courage to be truly yourself. New this February, Harry Kumar Ultimate Superstar is a laugh-out-loud, doodle-packed diary series from award-winning author Rashmi Surdeshpande. Harry Kumar is 10 years old, 75% Indian, 25% French, and 100% going to be a superstar. This February, we'll publish a brand new retelling of the beloved classic Black Beauty from the acclaimed storyteller Michael Morpurgo. This faithful retelling, beautifully written in Morpurgo's signature warmth, offers a new generation of readers the chance to discover this unmissable children's classic. From the best-loved author of My Dog comes a deeply moving depiction of the bonds between children and animals, and a beautiful portrait of memories shared between generations of family. Exploring the mining heritage in South Wales through the lens of family and animals, The Shadow Pony provides a much-needed depiction of regional working-class family histories. This March, from the author of Wolf Siren, comes another fairy tale-inspired story, full of dangerous magical creatures. Beth O'Brien is passionate about positive representation of disability in contemporary fiction, and like Wolf Siren, this book is naturally inclusive. This April, written by QI Elf and children's author Anne Miller, Monster Diaries is an accessible and hilarious first introduction to mythology which reframes the story from the monster's point of view. This is the first book in a highly illustrated new series, which will include other iconic mythological figures. Take flight this April to save the secret city in the sky in the heart-stopping finale to the soaring Starminster trilogy. With glowing praise from authors like Abby Elphinstone, Laura Noakes, and Hannah Gold, Megan is a much-loved voice in the middle-grade fantasy space. And from the Newbery Award-winning #1 New York Times best-selling author of The One and Only Ivan and Otter comes a stunning new middle-grade standalone novel about compassion, resilience, and surprising friendships following a dog named Wombat in the aftermath of a catastrophic fire. The enchanting, illustrated reimagining of Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland publishes in paperback this May. Alice with a Y was the winner of the Blackwell's Children's Book of the Year and was shortlisted for the Waterstones and Foyle's Children's Book of the Year in 2025. This May, we also published the first middle grade novel from composer, lyricist, and librettist Julia Ryu, inspired by the Korean folktale Shimjung. Shimjung Takes the Dive is an epic underwater fantasy adventure about friendship, belonging, and finding the courage to take the leap. The second book in the laugh-out-loud funny diary-style Prince Cal series will publish this May. Incredibly funny, illustrated throughout, and with a hilarious one-of-a-kind hero, Prince Cal is a brilliant and unforgettable new series from Ross Welford, the best-selling author of Time Travelling with a Hamster. Crow, Thief of Magic is an unput-downable and extraordinarily exciting fantasy debut. 12-year-old Crow is a thief, working for the leader of the criminal underworld, stealing from the city's wealthy ruling class. But when a routine job takes Crow to the home of a mysterious sorcerer, his whole life is turned upside down. Discover the facts behind many of the world's unsolved mysteries in this hilarious new book from the author of Become a Genius in a Year, jam-packed with the facts behind 20 real-life cases along with lots of cool, ridiculous, and mind-blowing history, science, and physics knowledge. Join Tim and Nora in this brand new laugh-out-loud illustrated series from Little Bad Man author Henry White and Lolly's winning illustrator Tim Wesson. This is a zany, madcap adventure with a sci-fi twist, all about standing up for yourself and finding out We're no one without our friends. June brings the launch of a hilarious new highly illustrated diary format fiction series from award-winning illustrator and author Rebecca Patterson. And finally, we have the second thrilling, mysterious, and very, very funny Cecily Sawyer mystery from the award-winning author of Einstein the Penguin, coming this June. Thank you for listening, and please do get in touch with us if you have any questions or would like to hear more about what we have planned for 2026.
Kia ora, hello everybody, I'm Rachel Lawson, publisher at Gecko Press. Very pleased to show you some of our new fiction for the first half of the year. So the Gecko Press list tends towards the younger readers. We specialise in illustrated novels for children who are just getting started on reading alone, just getting cracking on reading alone. So they're good for a range of ages because they have the accessible way in with lots of pictures, but they're really great writing. They have a strong emotional strand that kids connect with and a lot of humour. Also, from time to time, a philosophical bent. I think they offer a fantastic alternative. Before we start on the new books, I want to share our new B format edition of the much-loved My Happy Life. This is a perfect first chapter book for emerging readers. It was a New York Times notable book. It led to a 7-book series that sells strongly around the world. These books give children starting on reading a proper grown-up reading experience with our full chapters, really satisfying story, but an accessible level with these charming black and white illustrations on every page. My favourite review of the series describes it as umami for emerging readers. And on to the new books. Frank the Monster is a 3-book junior fiction series that's been gobbled up by children around the world. We know children love this series. This is cosy horror, so it's perfectly pitched for the under-10s for what we're describing as just scary enough thrills. Mats is one of Sweden's most acclaimed suspense and horror writers for adult and YA. He's often called Sweden's Stephen King. He's published internationally, many genres, and he's hugely successful. So I have a video of Mats here that you can meet him and hear his description of the book.
Hi everyone, my name is Mats Strandberg and I'm an author from Sweden, and this is Frank the Monster. This is the first part of a trilogy that I'm so happy about it being translated into English. In these books you'll get to know Frank, a 9-year-old boy who accidentally gets bitten by a small fluffy little dog called Woof. And after this, Frank starts to mysteriously turn into a monster at night. But he doesn't become a scary monster. Frank becomes a monster that is quite similar to Woof. He's very fluffy, he's very kind, and all he really wants is to be scratched behind the ears and have fun. But people in the town where Frank lives starts to really panic, and in this book the threat is actually coming from humans and their fear. It's not the monsters that are scary. These books are very much about being braver than you think you are, and finding friends in unexpected places, and about accepting yourself, whether as a monster or as a human. I really hope you will enjoy these books, and yeah, fluffy salutes from Sweden.
So books 2 and 3 in the trilogy will follow quickly in June and August. They have a strong 3-book arc as Frank and his monster friends eventually save the town and they're accepted back into the human community. They're gripping adventures about trying to belong. They have a big warm heart, and the writing is really brisk and pacey with these contemporary comic style illustrations. So I'll just quickly show you some spreads so you can see the fantastic illustrations by Sophia Falkenham. The book's getting some really strong early reviews in the US with a starred review from Publishers Weekly, and we know children love this series. We chose junior fiction that is already proven with children. Our books have an emotional hook, they have warmth, it's tight, pacey writing, but first and foremost, they're books that we know children love. Edith. This is a one-of-a-kind chapter book. It's fully illustrated in colour from a really great writer, Katarina Volks, and it playfully combines fairy tale adventure, absurd comedy and a heartfelt dilemma. It has at its core this big question about what makes a good life. So Edith was born at a time of magic and fairies. As a newborn, she received 2 gifts, the ability to bring objects to life and eternal childhood. The latter gift was from a very old and grumpy fairy who should have been retired. It was not a very good present. We pick up the story again 100 years later, where Edith celebrates her centenary still as a 10-year-old. So being 10 forever has its downside. Edith is fed up with it. She sets off to find the fairy who bewitched her and reverse that spell. She takes her only friends, a dog called Bolster and a talking lemon called Squirt. Edith, the book has a lovely look and feel. There are generous colour illustrations. There are special chapter pages with cover flaps. We've designed it to feel like a treasure. Edith 2 has received its first starred review in the US from Kirkus. It's a really special book that will stay in your heart, and I encourage people to read it so you know how to pass it on and who to pass it on to. Like the My Happy Life series, it has depth. These books are a lot of fun, but you also feel you're reading a story that matters. So there's more to find from Gecko Press on our YouTube channel, including interviews with authors, look-insides of all the books. We would love you to subscribe to our newsletter if you're not already subscribed. It's not overly frequent, it's only fun, and you get to see behind the scenes, see more from our authors and illustrators, and a little bit more about our publishing. So hope to see you there.
Hello, I'm from Hachette Children's Group, and today I'll be taking you through some of our middle grade books that are publishing this year. Up first, I'll be taking you through some of our young and illustrated fiction. To kick things off, I'd like you to meet our biggest launch of 2026, Kid Potato. This completely bonkers book that children want to read again and again and again has multiple short stories, cartoony illustrations, and loads of hilarious escapades. This major new middle grade series is an antidote for the reading for pleasure crisis. We'll be celebrating this series all year round, so do get in touch if you'd like to get involved with the Kid Potato fun. This slide just is to give you a quick look at the second books in a series that we have coming out. On the left, you can see The New Famous Five by Chris Smith and James Lancet. We then have Buzz Sausage Wolf and the Smelly Cat by Jim Beckett and Aurelie Lee Zan, and Werelock and Scratch, Rob Remo's Puzzling by K.R. Thompson and Binny Talib. Please do take a look at these series if you're unfamiliar with them, and get in touch if you'd like to request any reading copies. Here you can see some of the amazing graphic novels that are publishing soon too. On the left you can see the Ghost Boys graphic novel, which is a heartbreaking and powerful retelling of Jewel Parker Rhodes' classic story. And we also have books 2 and 3 publishing in the hilarious Boss of the Underworld, Alan King of the Universe, and the Cheat Book series. 2026 will be another major year for Cressida Cowell, the best-selling author of How to Train Your Dragon. In June, we are publishing a second book in her brilliant How to Train Your Dragon School series, which is a new spin-off series starring Hiccup and his fellow warriors in training in hilarious hair-raising adventures. These books are aimed slightly younger as they're more illustrated than the original How to Train Your Dragon books, but they're essentially just meaning that children of all reading levels can join in with the fun. We also have the third story in her Out of This World new series packed with epic adventure, thrilling space travel, and forbidden magic. This story, Which Way to the Future, is the third book in the Which Way to Anywhere series, and we cannot wait for it to come out in paperback this April. And now it's time to look at our titles that are publishing for kids aged 9+. Up first, we have Tree Thing by Piers Torday and Matthew Taylor Wilson. This gorgeously illustrated story with a classic feel celebrates bravery, hope, and the marvels of the natural world. Nadia Islam on the Record by Adiba Jagadar is a heartwarming and authentic first middle grade novel from the award-winning author. It explores family, religion, and fighting for what's right as Nadia discovers the true meaning of Ramadan. Silverbrook by Yasmin Abdelmajid follows 5 friends as they discover that they have hidden powers, but when one of them goes missing, they're about to learn that magic can't always keep you safe. Warm, funny, and zinging with imagination, this thrilling fantasy adventure highlights the power of community. The New York Times bestselling author of Pax delivers an incredible World War II animal rescue adventure about an orphan who discovers unexpected courage when he becomes involved with the resistance. Every New Year's Day, Lily Tripp wakes up in a new century. Thank goodness her bestie, family, and secret crush all time travel with her too, even if they don't know it. But how will she live in a time before chicken nuggets were invented? Why are her brother's clothes so ridiculous in every era? And how on earth can she cope with being the mean girl George's servant? Join Lily as she bounces throughout history, navigating friendship, dramas, first love, and family. This new series is Lottie Brooks Meets Back to the Future. 6 Weeks is a hotly anticipated new book from rising star Matt Goodfellow, the author of the best-selling The Final Year. Meet Alfie Piper, who's embarking on a summer he'll never forget. 6 Weeks is compulsively readable and relatable, and is a story of grief and light and family. This is just a quick slide to highlight the amazing third books in these fantastic series, Paper Dragons, Artisans, Geomancer, and Transcendent. So please do get in touch if you've not read books 1 or 2 in these series, because we are so excited to have these conclusions coming out this year. And to wrap things up, I'd like to give you a quick look at some of our non-fiction publishing soon. 2026 will be a big year for Matt Oldfield, as he's one of the World Book Day authors this year. This is our World Book Day title, Unbelievable Football, the most amazing World Cup stories you never knew. Kids will love diving into the most unbelievable World Cup stories in this football-packed World Book Day special by the best-selling and award-winning author Matt Oldfield. And finally, we have Pets Tell Tales Ancient Rome, which is a brand new non-fiction comic book series which teaches history in a funny and accessible way through the eyes of pets. We also have Reverend Richard Coles's A Heist Before Bedtime, which is packed with wit, humour and illustrations, and is a collection of true and very peculiar crime stories, which is perfect for kids aged 8+. And finally, we have Brainwave by Dr. Hannah Critchlow, which is a positive, accessible and practical toolkit which guides young readers into how they can improve their concentration and grow their resilience in the ever-changing world. I appreciate that it's been a very quick whistle-stop tour of some of the titles we have publishing this year, so please do get in touch if you have any queries or questions.
Hello everyone, I'm Emma from Faber Children's and I'm going to be giving you a quick rundown of our middle grade titles for spring 2026. So on to our first big middle grade title of 2026, The Blitz Sisters by Judith Eagle, which is publishing on the 26th of February. 3 sisters, 2 devastating bomb blasts, 1 life-changing war. We're describing this as Little Women for younger readers, set during World War II and beyond. It's such a beautiful book. We've already received some lovely reviews from fellow authors, and I think this is definitely one that's going to be really at the forefront of education, libraries and schools this year and hopefully years to come. So the Blitz Sisters is split into 3 epic tales from each sister. We start off by following Lydia in 1939, then moving on to Peggy in 1943 and finishing with Teddy in 1945 as they experience life during the Second World War. The World War itself is really vividly portrayed with plenty of historically accurate details and descriptions, and Judith is going to really work this into her events. I know she's got a true or false segment that she wants to use where children will get to learn about some of the really strange facts that she's discovered doing her research. This is really a perfect companion to a child's school learning, especially working World War II into the curriculum. It's perfect for fans of Letters from the Lighthouse, The Skylark's War, and When the Sky Falls. This is definitely kind of a 9 to 12. It is quite a bulky book, but it packs so much into it, and I think having those 3 stories really means that you can experience each one at a time and it breaks it down a little bit. It also has that beautiful element of Lydia, Peggy and Teddy all having very different personalities, so children can read it and pick which one that they are, whether they're Lydia, Peggy or Teddy, which is really beautiful. So our next middle grade book is the grand finale, unfortunately, to a flyaway best-selling series, but we are really excited for it nevertheless. Dave Pigeon, Dave vs. Dave by Swapna Haddo, which is publishing on 12th of March. When another pigeon turns up looking a bit like Dave, can Dave prove himself to be the most worthy of the name? The last of the series, but the full series can be read as standalones. These are laugh out loud funny, so hilarious, and really perfect for reluctant and new readers. They have a really great crossover between kind of early years comics breaking into early reading. Swapna has sold over 500,000 books for children, and this one is great for fans of Grimwood and Rabbit and Bear. So another one of our really big middle grades that we are super excited for, The Children of Wolf Rock by Natasha Farrant, which is publishing on the 4th of June. This is essentially a companion novel to the best-selling The Children of Castle Rock series, but can be read as a standalone. Stormy Lock is about to change the lives of 3 children forever. Natasha is obviously a Costa-winning author and the queen of outdoor adventure. She's sold over 12,000 copies, and we have all the confidence that The Children of Wolf Rock is going to be a fan for all, whether you're new, old, current. We're just so excited for this book to get out. This is definitely 9 to 12, where Dave Pigeon skews a little bit younger, could be kind of 7 to 9, but The Children of Wolf Rock is definitely a 9 to 12 book. So last but not least, we have Tales of the Cobb Street Commandos by Tony Bradman. This is publishing on the 18th of June and is very much skewed more towards that younger middle grade age bracket, kind of 7 to 9. It's a new action-packed adventure series, and it's split into 3 short stories. In each story, Jimmy and his friends have to tackle different adventures. So they have Spitfire Week, and then one of them they get to meet Winston Churchill. It's specifically designed for readers who are learning about World War II for the very first time, and it is a fantastic classroom tool. It's perfect for young and reluctant readers. It's very accessible, and Tony is a seasoned writer. He has sold over 800,000 copies over his 40 years of writing, and the Cobb Street Commandos is just so fun. We are so excited to work on this one. So that was a very quick run through of our spring middle grade publications, but if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to either myself or Sarah Doyle, who is publicity manager, and we will try to get back to you with any of your queries. Thank you very much.